Tukitoka hapo nilikuwa nataka kuuliza juu ya Dede Nyoro na Babu Owino.
Man, that's the best duo ever that ever happened. Personally, I'm a person who borrows a lot of things from Ndidi Nyoro. Like, I've watched him over a period of time. And I like his politics. I like what he has done in his constituency. And he's so brilliant, even the way he presents himself when it comes to issues concerning budgeting, when he was even in the committee of budgeting before. I think he is still, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, to me, that's the best duo ever. If you go to Embakasi, for instance, for like Babu Owino, you know, people may have their social life issues, right? Like when they try to drag him through the DJ Evolve thing, which he walked through as a man, and he became the bigger man out of that mess. Yes. To me, is one guy that, to me, if he comes for Nairobi governor, I'll just vote for him. I had so much hope for Sakaja, bro. I cannot make the same mistake again. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
You know, this is personal, and I can't stand what is happening. I think I had so much expectation out of this person, this particular individual. But Ndidi Nyoro now, if they are coming together as are they going to run for president, you think, or for anything?
Yeah, I think they just keep saying that there is this political movement that's inakuja. So I think it would be a political movement of the lake and the mountain trying to come together. For me, if it gets any oomph, I'd be happy if it was able to split the lake.
Yeah.
Because I really feel sad that the lake might be the reason why
we might not get a change our leadership.
Ends up getting a second term. Like, you jinga, alafu pia tunahitaji kitu tunaitangua nini? Tunahitaji more civic education for people to realize that just because Opiyo Wandayi has changed to, saizi nasikia watu wanamwita Opiyo Wandani. Just because he changed from Opiyo Wandayi to Opiyo Wandani does not mean that as a community you benefited anything. You're still paying ridiculous electricity
bills.
Hii deal ya Ketraco, ile tuko tunaenda ku build that 7 times more than what used to happen during Uhuru's time. He was the one facilitating it.
That's correct.
So tunajua Opiyo Wandayi, at least Mbadi mtu anaweza mtetea. There are things that Mbadi says you're like, oh, this makes sense. There is Opiyo Wandani, as soon as he became
all that he does is smile.
Yes, he smile, and he just became a clown. Like, there is nothing he says. So, lakini back to us wawili, I don't know if they stand a chance.
If this is what I'll tell you.
But yeah,
if Ndidi Nyoro and Babu Owino comes in for president and deputy president, they're gonna give Ruto a hard time. That's a swing. It's gonna be a swing vote, seriously. And Babu Owino can be able to, Babu Owino kind of have skills for Raila as well. He has that fanatic following as well. He can split the Luo nation into half. And Ndidi Nyoro right now, that's what I was saying. Like, the people like Ndidi Nyoro, I can't compare them with Okiya Mtata. Okiya Mtata has the passion of the country. Ndidi Nyoro has the formula.
Yeah.
And what we want right now is solutions. Yes. We stop whipping emotions and this is what is happening and all that, whatever. Okiya Mtata kind of makes me feel like I need him to be more muscle-like and just try to come out very clear.
Or more aggressive.
Yes, more aggressive. Like, Ndidi Nyoro can be aggressive, you know that. Babu Owino is worse, And that's what the kind of relationship we need. That people who understands when you just open your mouth first, number one, you know what you're talking about immediately. So by the time Okiya Mtata explains to you what is happening, it's going to take a minute for a young person who is 20 years to understand what it is exactly. And that's kind of and again, it's just because it's kind of slow. It slows down the process as what we want it to go like right now at the moment. No offense. I mean, yeah.
Okay. Because itakuwa interesting. Because the youth, the age thing might work for them. The fact that they are young, and people have wamekuwa na ile nini. But I think one of the things that's going to work against them is, number one, the ile shooting ya Evolve will still haunt Babu, because kuna watu, the worst thing about this new, like the Gen Z movement, is pia kuna a lot of woke people there who never forgive someone. So hawajali that Evolve ali forgive nani, them they want justice. So those people can end up alafu pia for Ndidi ama Dede, for him kuna shida ya Kenya Power. So he's part of Kenya Power. Kenya Power imekuwa ikitumiza. I think he's one of the biggest shareholders hapo. Imekuwa ikitumiza for so long, and it's a monopoly, that makes losses all of a sudden majuzi you make profit and you're supposed to be happy. You're a monopoly. Like how can you make losses as a monopoly? And that goes back to zile ati kuna stima, wakibuy stima from KenGen, the price that they buy it from is different from to private contractors where they buy at very inflated prices, and that's why Adani ingia kwa hii mix ilikuwa inaenda kutuumiza kabisa. So kuna hizo vitu zile nashindwa kama
ndogo. So the thing is going to challenge Ndidi Nyoro is apart from his presentation or the way he presents himself and what he's brilliant for and all that, is how he's going to explain his wealth. And again, the way he got there is going to be a tough challenge.
Who did he?
Ndidi.
He made some good
but now the Gen Zs are unforgiving for that. So that's the problem. That's going to be a problem.
And that's why they need to get their heads out of their asses. Like you either want change or you don't want change. Me nasema saizi I feel like anyone is better than Ruto, and the reason why I feel like that is someone needs to tell Ruto that the best way to get more taxes is to create jobs. The reason why Kibaki was able to increase tax revenue collection was because kumbuka one of the first things Kibaki alifanyaga ilikuwa kuimport computers was tax free. Because he knew computers were the future. So it's like, since this is the future, wacha vitu zingie tax free. Saizi Ruto anafaa kuwa anafikiria hivyo, AI is the future. Niko na check like Samsung unajua value ya Samsung will drop this year by 122 billion. Okay, hiyo?
Yeah, of course.
And the reason why the value of Samsung dropped by 122 billion is because they were supposed to be, walikuwa Nvidia ilikuwa mewa contract watengeneze chips za AI, and they could not come up with those processing chips. So with that, when the deal was taken from them, ikapatiwa to a Taiwanese company, Samsung it drop by 122. So now from Samsung we can see that AI is the future. What's Kenya doing if you come to AI? Remember, East Africa is like a sleeping giant. We are supposed to be the leaders of East Africa, ama Eastern Africa. So sisi tunafaa kuwa in the front line ya AI, and as in that front line we should be thinking of how can we take advantage of AI. So kitu yote ile ni AI Kenya inafaa kuwa inaingia tax free in the meantime. Why? Because we'll benefit in the future from Uganda kuwa nyuma, TZ kuwa nyuma, Rwanda kuwa nyuma. But these assholes would rather overtax things than, so hiyo ndio time inafanyaga maybe if we had someone younger who can look at vitu kama hizo, aone opportunities at the future, aone for example you'd rather have a smartphone that enters tax free but ends up bringing more revenue than anything. Neza patiana an example. Hii smartphone tunatumia hapa ishaletea igava more in tax revenue than it would have kama ingetaxiwa ikiingia.
That's correct.
Because of course nilibai nikiwa nje. So niliingia nao kani natumia. Nacheki. But so far nilikuwa states when nilirudi June. In that 4 months it may earn more taxes for the government than, so easy to wanafaa kuangalia. Like a smartphone that's out here will make them more money than any money that would stop it from kuingia kwa nchi.
But this is how I look at it. So we not like we've not had young people in positions which are very influential. To start with Sakaja have been peddling this youth thing, youth thing. Yeah. Sakaja is an example of a failed youth.
Yeah.
True or false?
Yeah. Yes. I
know. Kimani Kuria is an example of a failed youth. Osoros Livanos is an example of a failed politician.
Clowns. Is a youth.
Yeah,
but you see that dude looks old.
Yeah, but they are younger people that who have failed us, who argue the opposite direction. They just they don't have the passion for our country. They have the passion on how to become wealthy and rich and all that. Just you know, I have something I'm going to ask you that I want you to tell me today. Look at the other, like, which other youth that we're looking at? So many. Jaguar, you know.
Yeah, najua kuna a lot of clowns. Najua, I think shida ya Kenya ni we elect clowns.
Yeah, we glorify
ideas and vitu kama hizo. That's why nakwambia. Alafu people who end up in these positions end up being like mse kama Itumbi, for him to come up with history ya kucounter silhouettes just shows the way art wa reasoningi. So tuna electige clowns, but cartoons za tumia blueprint. Majuzi tulikuwa na mtoi wa like grandkid wa Kibaki and he started like talking about how his grandfather was running the country, but then akahepa from that. I think because even as a family they are afraid of getting into politics because the way Kibaki handles stuff. So okay, age is not an issue. You can have an old president who's futuristic.
That's what I'm saying.
But you need to have people around you who have ideas. People who will tell you that you'd rather give tax incentives to companies that don't operate in Kenya or don't operate in Africa than Nini. Another thing, for example, we make a lot of money, in quotes, from import ya magari into the country, yes? We are, like, if you can afford a second hand, kuna time ulikuwa na range? Yeah. Range yako US ulibai pesa ngapi? Na ilikuwa which year?
It was 2016. I just bought it when? I bought it in 2017.
At what price?
Was it like almost $44,000?
$44,000,
yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Do you know at 2017 Range Rover saizi ya Kenya, because that's like close to 8 years, would still be more than the money
I know that.
On a 1 year old one. You see?
I know that.
And that's where the problem is. So now we end up being the dumping ground in Japan. Like when Japan wants to get rid of their obsolete vehicles, wanajuaga watapatia na Africa. Angalia South Africa on the other side. South Africans are driving brand new cars. Why? Because the assembly plants ziko hapo. So these are the things we have to look at. Like, look at the bigger picture. Yes, instead of these 8-year-old cars, why can't we have assembly plants ziko hapa, have cheaper cars, but cheaper cars that are newer, better for the environment, better for hizi vitu zote. But onagi vitu. The same thing inasemekanaga Kenya, instead of msa tengeneze barabara, ata nunua Prado.
I don't know Prado.
You see?
Ambayo ita go through. Anasema, I want to get a Prado which is going to go for off-roads, bad roads.
Yeah.
And that's a leader who's saying that. But if the same leader is not going to say, I just want to buy a car that is compatible with the roads that we are going to make. So they are not futuristic. But they're handling problems that they have right now. And man, it's very unfortunate, by the way.
So ile story ya National Treasury ilikuwa ni National Treasury faces scrutiny over 161 billion debt repayment anomalies. 161 billion. This is more than $1.2 billion. This is in a country that people
are sleeping hungry.
So these are the things that to come to normalize, that when Ruto sees this, he goes to bed and he sleeps. Another person would see this and they'd lose their mind. They'd be like, what the fuck is going on? So isn't there Nini tuko nazo?